Welcome to Revenge Return, where love is never simple, revenge is never accidental, and every story unfolds with secrets, betrayal, and emotional twists you won't see coming. This is where the story begins. I was in Seattle when Mom's text arrived. Exciting news. Refinancing the lake house. Getting $180,000 cash out. Finally renovating the kitchen. 3 exclamation points. The kind of enthusiasm that makes your stomach drop when you know something they don't. I didn't respond immediately. Instead, I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out a leather folder. Inside, warranty deed, title insurance policy, 6 years of property tax receipts. All in my name. Only my name. The lake house sat on 4 acres in northern Michigan. Brilliant autumn colors reflected off water so clear you could see base swimming at 15 feet. My grandparents built it in 1962. Mom and Dad spent summers there throughout my childhood, treated it like their personal vacation compound. In 2018, Grandma died. Grandpa followed 6 months later. The will was explicit. Lake house to me, their only grandchild. Mom contested it for 8 months, claiming family property should stay with family, which apparently meant her. The probate judge disagreed. February 2019, the deed transferred. My name. My property. My mortgage payments for the past 6 years. I never told my parents about the mortgage. Let them think it was paid off, inherited free and clear. They kept showing up every summer, hosting family gatherings, acting like owners. I allowed it because the fighting over probate had been exhausting. They could use it. Fine. But use it was very different from own it. Mom's next text. Loan officer says we'll close in 3 weeks. The appraisal came back at $520,000. We're taking $180,000 equity. I called my real estate attorney, Jessica Chin. We'd worked together on the probate case. She answered on the second ring. They're trying to refinance property they don't own, I said. Which lender? Jessica asked. I heard typing. Great Lakes Mortgage Company. I know their VP. Let me make a call. 2 hours later, Jessica called back. Their loan officer, Brandon, just ran the title search. He's about to call your parents. Thought you'd want to know the timeline. What happens now? Standard procedure. Title search reveals ownership discrepancy. Loan denied. Then their legal department reviews whether to report suspected fraud to state banking regulators. She paused. Emily, they signed loan applications claiming ownership. That's a federal crime if prosecuted. That evening, Dad called. No, hello. There's been some mix-up with the title search. What kind of mix-up? The title company says you're listed as owner. His voice carried the patience of someone explaining an obvious clerical error. We need you to call them tomorrow and clarify that it's family property. It's not a mix-up, Dad. Silence. Then, what are you talking about? I'm the owner. Have been since February 2019. The probate court awarded it to me per Grandma and Grandpa's will. That was contested. His voice sharpened. Your mother and I. Contested and lost. The property transferred legally. I've paid the mortgage, property taxes, and insurance for 6 years. Mortgage. Mom's voice came through speakerphone now. There's no mortgage. Grandpa paid it off in 1998. I took out a mortgage in 2019. The house needed a new septic system, roof repairs, foundation work. $180,000 loan. I've paid $1,340 monthly for 72 consecutive months. You're lying. Mom's voice cracked on the word. We've been using that house every summer. With my permission. As guests. Guests. Dad's voice rose. We're not guests in family property. It's not family property. It's my property. You tried to refinance a house you don't own. The call ended. I sat in my Seattle apartment, hands trembling slightly. Not from fear. From something else. Relief maybe. The pretending was over. 3 days later, Jessica forwarded me an email. Great Lakes Mortgage had denied the loan application. Their legal department flagged it for review. The email used careful language, ownership discrepancy, document inconsistencies, further investigation required. Mom called from a number I didn't recognize. Brandon says they're investigating us for fraud. You applied for a loan on property you don't own, I said calmly. You signed documents claiming ownership. That's mortgage fraud. We didn't know. Her voice scaled toward hysteria. We thought it was ours. You knew I inherited it. You contested it. You lost in court. You received copies of the probate ruling. That was years ago. We forgot. I pulled up my email archive. Found what I needed. May 2019 I sent you the recorded deed. June 2019 I sent you my mortgage payment schedule. July 2019 I sent you the property tax bill showing me as owner. You replied to that one, stop rubbing it in. We didn't think. She stopped. Started again. We thought you were just being petty. That legally it was still family property. There's no such thing as family property in real estate law. There's recorded ownership. I'm the recorded owner. The mortgage company's investigation took 11 days. Jessica kept me updated. They interviewed my parents twice. Reviewed the probate records. Pulled the original loan application where mom and dad listed themselves as owners for 30 years. Cross-referenced against the actual ownership records showing my name since 2019. The investigation report noted several aggravating factors. They'd provided false information on federal loan documents. They'd used the property as if they owned it, hosting gatherings and making minor improvements without my written consent. They'd claimed the full appraised value as their asset on financial disclosure forms. Great Lakes Mortgage sent the file to Michigan's Department of Insurance and Financial Services. Standard procedure for suspected mortgage fraud. DIFS opened a formal investigation. Dad called from a lawyer's office. They're saying we could face criminal charges. I know. You have to tell them it was a misunderstanding. His voice shook. Tell them we had permission. Permission to use the property occasionally. Not permission to refinance it. Not permission to claim ownership. Not permission to commit mortgage fraud. We're your parents. And I'm the legal property owner you tried to defraud for $180,000. The lawyer took the phone. Ms. Harrison, I'm Robert Chin representing your parents. We're hoping to resolve this situation without formal charges. What are you proposing? Your parents will sign a notarized statement acknowledging your exclusive ownership. They'll agree in writing to cease using the property. They'll cover all investigation costs. In exchange, you don't pursue charges. I'm not pursuing charges. The state is. Talk to DIS. Your cooperation would help demonstrate this was an innocent mistake. Innocent people don't apply for $180,000 loans on property they know they don't own. Check your client's email archives. They have documentation of my ownership dating back 6 years. The lawyer hung up shortly after. DIFS investigation concluded in 43 days. Their finding: sufficient evidence of intentional mortgage fraud. They referred the case to the Michigan Attorney General's office with a recommendation for prosecution. Mom sent flowers. Dad sent a check for $5,000 with property use reimbursement in the memo line. I returned both. The Attorney General's office called me in October. They wanted my testimony. I spent 3 hours walking them through the timeline. Probate case, property transfer, my parents' continued use, their refinancing attempt, the email evidence of their knowledge. The prosecutor, a woman named Sarah Michaels, reviewed my documentation. This is unusually clear-cut. Most mortgage fraud cases involve ambiguity. This one doesn't. What happens to them? Depends on several factors. First, offense, their age, cooperation level. Could be deferred prosecution with restitution and probation. Could be up to 5 years federal prison if prosecuted criminally under bank fraud statutes. My parents hired a criminal defense attorney, Gerald Northrup, supposedly one of Michigan's best white-collar crime defenders. Cost: $75,000 retainer. Mom called from his office. Gerald says you're the key witness. If you tell the AG this was a misunderstanding, they'll drop it. It wasn't a misunderstanding. You knowingly applied for a loan on my property. We're your family. You're people who tried to steal $180,000 using my asset as collateral. The Attorney General offered a plea deal in December. No jail time. 3 years probation. $25,000 in fines and investigation costs. Mandatory financial crimes education course. Permanent record of mortgage fraud conviction. My parents rejected it. Northrup convinced them they could win at trial. Convince a jury it was an honest mistake by elderly parents confused about inherited property. I testified in March. The courtroom was small, wood-paneled, cold. Mom and Dad sat at the defense table looking 10 years older than I remembered. Mom cried. Dad stared at the table. The prosecutor displayed my exhibits. Recorded deed, mortgage statements, property tax receipts, email evidence. Then the email exchange from July 2019. Mom's reply, "Stop rubbing it in." Ms. Harrison, Sarah asked me, "In your professional opinion, did your parents know you owned this property when they applied for the refinance loan?" "Yes." "Absolutely." "How can you be certain?" "Because they contested the inheritance. Because I sent them ownership documentation. Because my mother specifically told me to stop reminding her that I owned it. They knew. They just didn't care." The jury deliberated 6 hours. Guilty on 2 counts: mortgage fraud and making false statements on loan applications. Sentencing came in May. The judge noted my parents' age, lack of criminal history, and the fact that no money actually changed hands since the loan was denied. But she also noted the deliberate nature of their actions and their refusal to take responsibility. Sentence: 2 years probation each. $42,000 in fines and restitution. Permanent fraud convictions on their records. Prohibition from applying for mortgages or loans over $10,000 for 7 years. Dad aged 15 years in that courtroom. Mom wept through the entire proceeding. They sent a certified letter last month. "We understand now that we were wrong. We hope someday you can forgive us." I haven't responded. I don't plan to. The lake house is mine. Always has been. I'm selling it this summer. Already have a buyer, a young family from Grand Rapids with 3 kids. They'll actually make it a family home instead of a monument to entitlement. The closing is in August. I'll walk away with $485,000 after paying off my mortgage and covering closing costs. I'm using it to buy a cabin in Washington state. Somewhere none of them have ever been. Somewhere without 30 years of their ownership delusion soaking into the floorboards. My parents wanted to refinance our lake house. The title search revealed it was never theirs. Their greed revealed they were never really family. The property is sold. The case is closed. And I am finally free.